Okay. Well, I didn't hear anything from Brian or Tom, so I assume they're going to be here. Assume. Okay. I'd like to get maybe started without them. Reminder that turn these on and that we are being recorded, so. Do we have minutes from the last meeting? No.
Nope,
Okay.
we're not taking minutes.
Well, you are taking who's here,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you have to do
attendance,
that.
yeah,
Attendance,
yeah. I have that.
excused.
We voted.
and
think we voted on
any motions, and if there's anything that's, I would say, needs to be recorded other than a motion too. Okay, all right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and what I have down here is committee organization for 2019-20. I just want to canvass everybody. Are we comfortable in meeting at Wednesdays after noon time? Does that work out for everybody
Does for
on the committee?
Brian's the one who's, I think Brian is the one who's expressed it's a little challenging for him, but it works well for me.
Yeah, yeah, but I think for everybody else, it's pretty good. Okay, fine. And, you know, every year, I think we have to say who's going to be chair. Does anybody else want to do that?
I nominate you.
Okay,
Second, yeah. third,
all right.
Yep.
Okay, all right. And Brian will be vice chair and- for now. Okay, good. Also on the committee, John Scholes has resigned from the committee, and so we have an opening. If anybody knows of someone, I might have some forms here, but there's a form from the town
Actually,
office.
if you do, I would take, if you do, I would take one or two.
Yeah, maybe I'll look for it later, okay? All right? I think I should have a couple of those copies here, okay? Or get them from the front office.
Do we know what the term is on that one, on John's opening?
I would guess it's a one-year term, because I think that was his. I'm not sure if they changed it to all three or not.
It would be based on whatever John had for a term.
Right.
Whether he was in his first, second, or third year.
Right, okay,
So-
he was in his first year, so.
So it
it'll
might be a two-year term.
Two-year term, okay. Anyways, so that, so we do have an opening there. Now, couple of things, I'm gonna switch around here, because I apologize the last meeting that I kept you here for a long time and everything. Let's, why don't you just update us on what's going on with the disc golf project?
Once again, a really busy month. I have 9 baskets and a course installed up there. I'm going up to finish them up, put the flags in the baskets so they're really easily visible. I've tried contacting Beth a few times to get her up there, show her what we've done, but we've been
Timing
missing
just
each
hasn't
other.
worked for us, yeah.
Yeah,
I also know that ever since I got 3 baskets up on the mountain, people started playing.
Yeah.
I could not put the baskets up fast enough for the community that's up here. You guys said you wanted to see what kind of a group was coming. Well, they came faster than I thought. I couldn't believe 3 baskets and I got people up there playing.
and just a quick thing, ages of
I
a,
have whole entire families going up there. They're
Okay.
coming to Cuzzies, they're asking me to bring discs the next day for them, and I can't believe it. It's
Right.
unbelievable what's going on.
right, Good.
I would really like to get you guys up there to play a course sometime.
Yeah.
We went up for the chairlift rides and we walked down, and so and I had been telling my husband about this all along. And then we were like, oh my gosh, there they are, and then there's another one, and so it was really fun.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with the layout of the course. It goes up the bunny slope, there's 1, 2, and 3, and then 4 goes right across that top of the ridge line. Hole 5 cuts back up into the mountain, and it goes up high enough. When you go up to hole 5, grab your disc and turn around, you can see the harbor from up there. It's
Wow, you're
gorgeous.
getting people up high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
I can transfer it on to our regular
I
map, it'd be
meant to
great.
bring it with me today, but I
Okay.
was running a little late this one and
Yeah.
totally spaced it.
It's definitely something that we could produce,
Awesome.
and maybe make
Right.
it so we can put it on a kiosk that, you know, hold
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
That I want to bring to the attention of the select board and talk about.
Now, Jeff, you're not charging at this point,
I'm not
correct?
charging
No.
anything at all. I'm not even charging for disc rentals.
Okay. So it's free to the public, we
Free
can,
to
we can
play.
push that and do all that?
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
So would you email me the PDFs of those so I can put them on the website?
Sure, what's your email address?
Right.
Anderson,
Yes, it is.
Right. Hey, Brian.
snowball.com.
Yeah, no. So maybe we should put somewhere.
You have been
Holly, where we
nominated and
post
accepted as vice chair once again.
daylight, Dawn, dusk, dawn to dusk.
You did not forget.
I am gonna be throwing a small little impromptu, nighttime course for those people who do have glow-in-the-dark discs.
That's fine, let us know what the date is.
I will.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Good,
Were you there this weekend?
very good.
And if you have more of those, it'd be great to have some in the lodge for pancake breakfast.
Certainly.
Yeah.
I'll get you a bunch for
Right.
this weekend.
Good.
And I know you talked with Andrew Daly at Side Country Sports.
Yes.
And asked him if he would be willing to, like, hold the discs for you, is that what you?
Yeah, just, you know, if people want, that way they don't have to come all the way to town, see me at
And
Cuzzy's.
he was fine with that?
He was totally fine with
Does
it.
he get how to talk to people about the different weighted discs and whatnot?
If he doesn't, I can educate him. It's really simple.
Right.
Because he's open on the weekends, and that could be very handy for folks, so.
Great. Okay, good. Going back up to number 3, reservation fees. We had a meeting with a couple of the leagues, was that 2 weeks ago? And what you'll see here is what I handed out, the form, the reservation form and the policies that Beth and Holly have updated. And what, the basic thing is a reservation fee of $100 for youth leagues and $300 for adult leagues, adult sport leagues. And we have right now that empty for other reservations, but for the field. Beth, what would you suggest that be? And I'd like to have this committee discuss this and then vote on approving this. But what are you thinking of for other organizations?
Well, I guess it depends on like whether it's a nonprofit group doing a.
Yeah. I mean, how many other types of groups do you have reserving the sports field area during a year?
Maybe 3,
Maybe 3.
4.
And they would, and usually
Like,
one day?
Last weekend, Montessori did their fundraiser, it was a family,
Yeah.
really, sorry.
Yeah,
A family thing, but at that time, we didn't charge them anything, we said, you know,
Right.
we'll
Right.
accept a
Make a
donation if you want,
right,
but, I mean, that was one of those things where we had to call football and see if football was having a game here this weekend or
Yep.
not, and whether
Right.
they could use it.
right.
I think for something like that, I would suggest like maybe a $25 reservation fee.
For a nonprofit.
Yeah, and then, I mean, the only other groups that I can think of is there was a veteran, some group, they were associated with some veteran group that would put on a one-pitch softball tournament. And that was an all-day thing on a Saturday in the spring. We never collected anything from them, and it was just,
Right.
obviously, they raised quite a bit of money. Jeff Scott that comes out with his Frisbee team to do like a family cookout. I wouldn't want to charge somebody something for that.
Yeah,
They're just dropping in for a family cookout.
Or like in the past, I've called and said, you know, if it's a sunny Saturday, I have a child with a birthday, is anything going on? Can we just run out and play and swim and, you know?
I wouldn't want to charge something like that, you know,
But
that's,
that's not, I mean, that wouldn't be exclusive use. It's not like you wouldn't do something, but you might, if someone else, if I called and said, well, I'd like to come out and do something, you might say, oh, well, Casey girl has got something going on there too.
Right.
You can't have it, you know. But if someone.
Could you do it after 3, you know, or something?
Yeah, or, I mean, it seems like if someone's looking for exclusive use of the entire facility, which is what the sports groups, you know, for that day, then could it be this, you know, the $100 for the
Yeah.
nonprofit and the 300 or whatever for the other, if you're gonna get that exclusive use, and if it's something that is not doing the whole field, you know, and it's nonprofit, $25, or just come up with something so you can make it consistent. And so people know, like, oh, that's our fee schedule. You know, I mean, if someone's making thousands of dollars off of doing their fundraiser there, I don't think it's unreasonable for us to get $100 or a couple $100 off of that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
as a way to pay it
so,
forward.
I mean, Beth, this is, we're gonna come back to you as far as the recording of everything and organizing it, but then also, winding up selling it to the select board to get approval too. Do we want to have a base fee and then free for nonprofits, or?
I think maybe if we just say, you know, exclusive,
To reserve the field.
yeah. I mean, I'm fine with saying $25. If somebody wants that field for X amount of
Anything,
time for
anything.
themselves.
Yeah.
And if Casey decides to call me the day before, oh, can I come out? And I can say, no, they have exclusive rights. You know, I think that's probably,
You know what? Why don't we just put it this way? I would suggest then under that third line there be 25, and then other organizations, and then in parentheses per day.
Yeah.
Okay. So if somebody wants it for 3 days,
Or
it's
single
$75.
event or something.
yeah,
Single
single
event.
event.
Single event?
Single day or.
Yeah, because if you think about, like, I'm not gonna charge Casey to have a birthday party out there, but if somebody wanted to do a big Montessori family thing, there's parking issues, there's, you know,
Right.
they're rolling in grills.
There's
they're-
impact.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's impact.
So, yeah, I just want to do it so you have the flexibility here to say, this group is in
Yeah,
charge of it. So,
to reserve a single day as opposed to just a walk-on. There's a courtesy call if it's busy,
But
but.
not just necessarily a single day, I think we could say an event.
well,
Single event.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
what if they wanted 3 days? I'm not gonna charge them.
I would charge him $75.
yeah, oh, yeah, that seems totally.
per day.
Per day.
Again, if they're to me, the dividing line could seem to be, are they doing, you know, an event, like they're doing a family day thing, or are they doing are they doing a fundraiser? Are they using, you know, our facility to raise a whole bunch of funds, which is not bad, that's great, but if they're getting that capacity out of it, to me, it seems like it's not unfair for us to tap a little bit of that, because we're a nonprofit too. And
Yeah.
why, you know, we're supporting their mission by doing that,
Yeah.
because if, I don't know, it just
I
seems
think
like,
having the per day kind of provides the option for the per season. Per day or per season.
One day or less, up
Yeah.
to a day.
I wonder about also something that just leaves it up to Beth's discretion, like the
Yeah.
director, you know, the discretion.
waive or
Right,
whatever.
exactly.
I think that's almost inherent
Yeah.
in your position.
Yeah, it does though open by doing that, it does open the gate for people to, you know, really push to not be charged.
Yeah.
And we've had that happen
Yeah.
before about
Right.
police details and some other things that people are just, they're adamant that they're not gonna pay. And because it says at, you know, best discretion can waive it, then it goes up the ladder and it's like, but, you know, you're not using it any differently than someone else. So I wanna be careful with that.
Right.
that's a good point. We should have a set fee schedule, and then if there's a circumstance and, you know, Beth, or, you know, however you guys do it, get approval from to deviate from the policy, it doesn't come from us, that's gonna come from Audra at the top, and you're gonna say, hey, we got an unusual circumstance here, it's a funeral service for so-and-so.
So do you wanna add a 25 per day between the 300 and the other?
Yeah,
Add that $25 other
organizations.
organizations in parens per day.
Would you ever consider putting a calendar online so people can see without having to call you whether or not it's available? Or it's blocked off?
Certainly could, sure.
Where's that more work?
That might take a little, I mean, once you put it up there, then, you can, I don't know, people might get used to looking to the calendar.
And what we found with the calendar, though, is 9 times out of 10, people just call.
Right.
They're gonna call
They don't bother to,
And,
they don't.
and currently, other than the leagues, you're talking about, half a dozen
Right,
requests during a year, so.
at
I
this
think
stage.
I think this is good.
Can we ask how the meeting went? What sort of feedback you got?
I think the meeting went well. Heather from Five Town Footballs was there. She thought it was very reasonable.
Yep.
And
How about softball?
softball, I can't think of, Chris Hart. Chris
Yeah,
Hart?
yes, yes.
He's the softball president right now.
Was he one of the ones who was here that day?
I don't think so.
I don't think he was. I think he's a new one. He was tapped by Dale.
Yeah, I think so. He said it was reasonable. He's got a sour taste of the whole league himself right now. I guess he's
Yeah.
out like $500 out of his own pocket. So, he needs to clean a few things up internally.
He didn't have a whole lot of feedback.
No.
Pro or con, so, and Mark was there, and he, talked a lot about, that felt like the fees were too low. It was really kind of a short meeting.
It was.
Was there any discussion about other non-monetary ways that the leagues that are using the facility could be helpful, like you and I had talked about?
Yeah, I mentioned to them that softball painted the dugouts, and that was great, and that if each of the leagues could come up with something to give back, that it would be, and/or volunteer their time.
Right.
Like at Toboggan Weekend, if football has this core group, and they were receptive to all of that. They wanted to know what they could do.
Yeah, they just want to be asked.
To me, that seems like a big part of it, because we're opening the tent up. It's
Right.
like, you're not just using a facility. It's not just a fee for use thing. It's a bigger community effort, and the more of that we get, maybe the stronger we are overall going forward, because the kids see their parents are doing this, and they grow up thinking, well, this is the way we operate.
Yeah.
And that is to me, a bigger goal of Parks and Rec.
And we are referring to this, and the whole discussion was really, this is a reservation fee, and there was no discussion really about the monies going to any kind of maintenance or whatever, because we don't want to get in the position of saying to the leagues, okay, you're going to pay this amount of money, and we're going to then do all the things you've been doing to help the program. So I think this is very fair. I know Mark would like to have it higher.
I'm totally opposed to it completely. The fee of that per league doesn't pay to mow the grass for the summer.
Yeah.
But Mark, we're gonna have to mow the grass no matter what, if anybody's using it or not. So,
Anyways, okay, all right.
It's a start.
Well,
We went from 0 to 300. so
Exactly, it's a start.
and
It may not be where you want it to be, but it's,
okay. Can I have a motion to, I want to do this formally, okay? Can I have a motion to accept this reservation fee structure
With change?
with change?
Yeah, I would say the motion would be to.
To recommend.
Yeah, to recommend, and we support, or to, that, the fee stuff as laid out by Parks and Rec. The idea is, it's their thing, we're just supporting it. We're saying it's been vetted by this community committee, and we're on board.
Okay,
So move that we recommend it to the select board for adoption as a town policy and a process.
I'll second the motion.
seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor? 4?
Oppose.
Okay. 4 to 1, okay, good. As I mentioned, I am going to make a presentation to the select, or I'm requested to make a presentation to the select board on 22nd about the activities of the committee, and it's going to highlight, some of the things that we have worked on, including the disc golf program, the signage for Parks and Rec, a couple of other things. One other thing that was suggested at the last meeting, that as far as major expenditures in the future for Parks and Rec, what we, if possible, prioritize what some of these major expenditures are and what we think are the most critical. And I put down 6 things here. If you can see this, I refer to as ranked choice voting. What I'd like to have every member here do is rank these in which you think are the most important, 1 through 6, or if there's some other ones. And this is really, I would say, major expenditures. Shirtail Park, we have discussed this for a couple of years now, as far as what needs to be done there with the shoreline, with the road coming in, with parking, et cetera. Barrett's Cove, which is the parking lot, at some point in time is going to have to be redone, and to prevent erosion or runoff into the lake. That is going to be another major cost, and I have no idea how, I would say most of these are probably in the 100,000, except for Maiden Cliff one. Beth, if you want to join in with any, off the top of your head idea of what these things would cost. The tennis courts, I think, we need a total rebuild of the tennis courts, and that, I believe, is 120,000, your last
Just
estimate?
for the, putting in the court, and that's not any,
Not even the fence repaired, or,
removal.
Yeah.
Digging down.
yeah. Okay. The Maiden Cliff Trail, bridges and rerouting is not going to be as expensive as these other ones, but it's another one that is going to need to be done.
Yep, and actually, Audra has brought it to department heads in the town that, they're looking for town employee type of activities for them to, like, so Marlene could leave the town office and go do a project. So we're starting, projects within the town and offering it up to town employees to kind of change up their daily routine. And that was one that was thrown out there,
Yeah,
maybe for them next spring.
okay, okay.
I think that's a fantastic idea from the town. I wonder if that could be the germination of a larger piece where the plan is made, the resources are available, the skilled talent that we need is coming out of Parks and Rec or wherever, but we need volunteers. And so you get the Allen Agency, you get Evergreen, you get whomever. To say, you know what, we're gonna give our crew, the time to go and do that as a wellness
Yeah.
activity. And in that sense, we broaden what we're doing as
Right.
Parks and Rec, and we're achieving the goal of getting it to be a safer space. And people say, hey, this was kind of fun, we bonded, we did a good thing.
So do you want us to rank these
Yeah, and the
ourselves?
other ones, just to go through them quickly. Tannery Park Playground, this is something we have talked for about a long time, and there are obviously issues there, but should,
I'm gonna say we should do nothing with that until they decide what's gonna happen with the property.
fine.
But and playground-
There's no reason for us to talk about putting a playground there when they may even declare it, biohazard, so.
Right, okay.
Just,
Playground means just play sets and stuff, and nothing more, like a pavilion or
Ground of
anything?
some type, yeah. Okay, in-town playground. But anyways,
The access road, is that from Barnestown to the gate?
yeah, and Beth can probably enlighten us a little bit more on that one.
So the culvert that's under the road, the access road, that the stream goes into the pond.
Right at the gate? Yeah.
is severely too small for the amount of
I
water.
thought there was money budgeted in
There
last
is.
year's
There is.
budget for it.
There is.
There's a grant.
But, and DEP also, has done a grant. But the thing is that it looks like it's getting pushed to next year. Because we're now getting into our wet fall, and it needs to be dry when we do it,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, but this would be what, so if it's already being paid for, then what would this be for?
Well, the culvert, I think, is, but we would like to resurface the road, which is another,
Another amount.
right, to dig, get
So
the
like,
road
once
bed.
they do the culvert, then we could pave from Barnestown to the gate? We're, okay, and we're not talking about the actual Snowball parking lot?
No, but in that paving of the access road, I don't know why it didn't get done when the parking lot was getting its redevelopment, but it should be paved all the way into the turns.
Yes.
Because those get so rutted up.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
feel like I know each bump
Yeah.
by heart, because
Yeah.
they're always there.
So that was what we were suggesting in that.
Do we have any rough dollar figure for, is that 50,000 or is that 500,000?
I think 90,000 for the culvert?
Well, no, I know the culvert is paid for, so I'm not worried about that, but
I think
road
Arlene
bed
Gorski
work.
estimated 160 for the paving.
So that would be road bed paving.
Dig down, do the different layers so that we don't have to go and fix every year.
And there are no Snowball-specific expenditures on here on purpose, or could those be added in the,
I think what I'd like to do before we even vote on these or whatever is if there's something else you're thinking of that should be added to this as far as priorities. I just basically went through some of the ones that we have discussed in these meetings
Yeah.
and that are also on our work plan. But other ones that anybody would like to add in here that,
Well, I have a priority list for capital projects for the Snowball operations, and the select board is aware of those priorities. Those are big ticket things as well, and nothing's ever been,
like the road up under the chair and?
the road,
Yeah.
lights on Northeaster, mid-station pump station,
Yeah.
you know, those
So
type of
there's some
projects.
stuff like
Yeah,
that,
those are on a list.
Okay, thank you.
Tubing Hill, yes, that's on the list.
okay. Okay, fine.
I don't know if they should go on this, I mean,
I don't want to go through a list of 20 different things. And I think if the select board is already aware of those, these are some other, some of the other parks.
yeah, these are, we'll leave.
Other
Well,
parks.
yeah, there's a.
Other
division into
facilities.
Parks and Rec and
Right.
Snowball,
Right.
but.
Yeah. So anyways, I don't know, does anybody we'll take off the playground here as one, and to Maiden Cliff, that seems like that's going
No,
to be happening.
I think you should leave it
Okay,
on here,
fine.
because that is
Okay,
something that we
fine.
can check off
All
once
right.
it's finished,
Okay,
you know?
fine.
And I think my thought was that these are, I sort of ranked them in my mind as to popularity of use by the community, which of these things get the most use and are,
Right.
so, and for that reason, they rank higher in my mind if they are more popular.
Right.
Like tennis courts is not, there's a small group that want to use that, but there's a larger group that want to use the Snow Bowl, or there's a larger group that want to use Barrett's Cove, that kind of thing.
Okay. Anybody have any other things that they would like to add to this? Do you want me to add stuff to this, like the Tubing Hill and other ones from the?
I think that should be
Snowball.
totally separate. Anything that is strictly snowball, winter
Right.
related should be
Right.
a
Okay,
separate
fine.
entity.
Okay, all right,
There are two budgets, yeah, there are two different budgets.
yeah, okay. What I don't know, I think the easiest thing would be for me to, if everybody just rank them and give me the slips, okay, which you feel are the most important ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, Okay, you got this already? Okay. Good. Sure, thank you. Good. You want to fill out the other ones?
No,
Okay,
I
fine.
don't think
That's
there's
fine.
any roll order in those.
Okay, good. All right, thank you. All right. All right. Okay, is there any, let's see, on the work plan, I have modified a couple of things here, and this will be part of what I present to the select board. The color coding in here, the blue is basically things that we have done so far. The reds are unfinished or sometimes unaddressed. And the green are some things that, their last meeting, Beth suggested that we try to have added to our list. Lake Beach with the improvements that are being done there and things going on in the future. It's one of our more visible parks. Disc golf and where it goes on there. And then also this idea of the issue with the brown-tailed moss, and to have this committee do inspections of the different properties to see where we've got issues. And I am not aware of what would be the best timing for that, Beth, on the brown-tailed moth. When,
Oh, so the parks crew is gonna go out and do an inventory of this winter when we can see the
Nests.
nests or
Yeah.
whatever it is. And then the ones that we can take care of, we'll do in spring.
okay, but as far as this committee's involvement, then,
I guess if you're out and about and you see several big nests, let us know where,
Okay.
what park that's
right,
at,
okay,
or public space.
okay. Okay, fine.
It's hard to identify where, where a particular tree is or something.
Well, if you say you were at Barrett's Cove and you're like, okay, the oak tree
Right.
by where the porta potties are,
Yeah,
why don't you have a look at that?
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if it just might be really simple for people to, and I do this all the time. Just take a picture, put your finger in the thing and point to that tree and just take a picture of it, contextualize it so somebody else can look at it and go, oh, I know where that is. And just send it in so that there's a,
Sure.
it just might be simpler than trying to dialogue it and blah, blah, blah. Just like, all you need is a bunch of pictures. Go to that park, and just say what park you're at, maybe.
Yeah. Okay,
Right.
okay, fine. Very quickly, a couple other things on the Pathways Committee. Jeff's not here. Toboggan Committee, Holly, we had our first meeting.
Working on some rules clarifications. I've got people already asking about registration, specs for building toboggans, and parking purchases. So we decided to open up registration on November 1st. That's our game plan, is to shoot for that. And I'm beginning to talk with sponsors. And our next meeting is going to be the 16th,
Week from today.
8 o'clock at the Snowball. So,
And we've got, seemed like we have two new members of the committee.
Yes.
and could always use more. So
Yep.
everybody from this committee is always welcome to join that group. Yeah.
Just in terms of Toboggan Ashes, because it's such a, it's the signature winter event, sort of, it's probably the biggest event that we ever hold out at the Snow Bowl, I would think. How did, I guess sort of, in terms of strategic, plan, do we have, plenty of vendors and plenty of support last year? Are we on an uptrend? Are we on a level plane? What's the, like, what are we, are we thinking we want to keep growing? Are we thinking we're refining
I
or?
think we're level.
I think we're level.
Okay,
I don't
so
think
that-
we
Which is fine,
would wanna be
I'm just trying to
much-
understand, so,
Yeah.
so we're looking to sort of get that, nut there without, so it's incremental changes, there's nothing, no substantial changes. The one thing that I know has come up in the past, and I know it's a pet issue of some people on the committee, is, and I know it's a concern for the town, is the rampant alcohol abuse on the lake, so to speak, you know what I mean? Rampant in the sense that there's a lot of it going on, not everybody is problematic, but trying to help keep it, maintain it, to me, it seems like improve it in that family-friendly, vein, because nobody wants it to be out of control, and it's not there, but.
I gotta go, guys.
Is there, what is the, thinking, how do we as a committee help support that, feathering that line so that people are still having fun and wanting to come to it, but not wanting to come to it because it's a bacchanalia?
It's not,
I
Or
don't
not
think
for
it
the
is that at
bacchanalian-esque
all.
portion of it. No, I'm not saying that it all is, but just how do we keep that help to keep that tamped to an acceptable level, I guess.
I don't think it is unacceptable.
Okay, and that may be,
Personally,
yeah.
I don't think it's, and I'm in the thick of the mom, the kid scene and having two little kids. I've never heard parents, obviously I'm just a party of one, but I've never heard people say, whoa, that was way too wild and crazy and out
Right.
of hand. But I worry more about us sort of trying to overly control that person. That's where
Yep.
I would lean in, I think.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what, because I know that there's, there are multiple sides of the issue, and I'm not suggesting I know where the line is or not, but I'm curious as to.
I think it was last year, we had an issue with a male attendee kind of accosting women. He was drunk, and he was grabbing women, and they were going to the police and saying, this guy's, So, stuff does get out of control. It just doesn't happen to everybody that's there, but.
I think it's being managed well.
well, I think that's, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about someone grabbing people.
But did the police go and address it and then it was
Yeah, he
taken
was
care of?
escorted out.
Right, yeah. And we've had a couple of instances of racers who have been told they cannot go down to shoot,
Yeah, because they've had to.
but there's only a few over the course of many years, so. Yeah, and it is something that's on the committee's, the toboggan
Yeah,
committee's agenda.
We did actually mention it last week at the meeting that, the thinking was that I would put together a letter, to all of our returning racers who are, that's the bulk, there's a lot of returning racers.
Yeah.
But certainly can send it out to any new ones as well, once they sign up.
Right.
Just a reminder
Right.
of,
What's expected, and
what,
what's not.
what we
what's
want this,
acceptable.
what we want this event to be, and what the rules are.
Yeah.
That we don't wanna have to make, a black or white decision on it, and that we would hope that everyone would respect, and just see if we could make some headway that way.
Yeah.
And see how that works, try it once, and if it doesn't work, then we'll do something different, we'll try something different.
I think mentioning too the smoking policy for the parks, because I know
Yeah.
for those of us that are out parking cars, I'm constantly having to tell people whether it's a butt or a joint this is a non-smoking town park, and
Yeah.
just including it in the materials is
Yeah.
a good reminder, I think.
Yeah. If you want to smoke, go out on the ice.
Well, go get in your car and roll up the windows,
Right, right.
I don't care,
Yeah,
but,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good, so it sounds like, yeah, I think that sounds like a great
Yeah,
way to.
let's put it this way, the
Inform
issue,
people
the issue's
what the
not being,
expectation
the
is.
issue's not being ignored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, really.
Well, I'm sorry, what is the issue, though? The issue is that some people get drunk?
Well, the issue was that there
I'm not
was-
saying, I'm not saying it like I disbelieve it, I'm saying like, help me understand
think-
what's the
I think
issue?
the issue,
So there's an no open container law
Right.
in public parks and spaces.
yeah,
And yet, that's why you see brown bags or,
Yeah.
or
Right.
Yeti
Cups.
cups or.
And I think the one thing that really stuck out, and I know I saw it, I know other people have voiced it, that just, there was a group from a college that came, and I hate to say it, but colleges seem to be some of the worst offenders, that just brought in cases and cases and
On
cases of beer.
sleds.
right.
On sleds.
From
And that
their
was
bus
just,
That they rented.
it just didn't make it look, no
There was no subtlety.
subtlety at all.
There are a lot of large coolers coming
Yeah.
out of big trucks
And,
for cars.
you know, a large
not just
cooler,
cars.
but I just like, we don't have,
Right.
Yeah.
major sponsors or, that are,
And-
it's not a Budweiser event.
No,
Right.
okay,
But it was more, but we do have Sea Dog Brewing there as a vendor, so I'm not gonna discount that or
Right.
poo-poo that. It was just that it was not subtle what people were doing, and there was no finesse to it. It was just cases and cases, and
Yeah.
that was just, it
Okay,
kind of just
well,
made it
that's,
feel,
okay, that's helpful, just because, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
And it seemed that the Sea Dog stuff, and I think Blue Baron
Blue
was
Baron,
there also.
yes.
I thought they were pillars of the vending community in the way that they operated, what they did.
Right.
And
right,
my sense is the sort of trend line that we're probably heading towards is that ends up being a more regulated consumption, which helps to reduce probably the behavior, because I'm sure this dude was a jerk when he wasn't drunk anyway, but I'm sure he was a much jerkier jerk once he got toasted and started accosting women, you
I
know?
think in past years, before we had any kind of a beer vendor there, whether it was the Rotary with beer tastings or Sea Dog and Blue Baron, that people that were there for the first time and realized that there were other people walking around with solo cups were like, oh, I didn't know we could do that. And now that we've got a vendor on site, they don't have that, oh, I didn't know I could do that, because it's there, it's available to purchase. And there is a control piece to that, or a sense of control because of, liquor licenses and things. So we may be heading it off by having those vendors there.
And it's an opportunity to make more money for the town.
right,
The more that's sold and not brought in.
Yeah. So
so,
okay.
it's definitely not a black or white issue. And it's, there is a judgment piece to it too, that one person's, sensitivity is not another's, and yet we all need to be
right,
sensitive, so.
okay. All right,
Good, well, that sounds
yeah.
awesome.
Anything else anybody wants to bring up? Yes.
I have a
Jeff.
question about
Sure.
the toboggan thing. We're starting to get ready to form our team, and we're getting some shirts printed up, but our printer was wondering if you guys have that copywritten or not.
We do.
You
Yeah.
do, so we need direct permission from you guys to put that on any
Yes.
uniforms or shirts or
Yes,
whatnot.
and we wouldn't do that because we sell our shirts, yeah.
Well, that was just a question. I was
Yep,
asking.
no, yeah, what
Take
you
that part
could
off.
use is Toboggan Nationals, I mean, I'll just, that's not copyrighted, and it is kind of a common, I mean, you could,
All right, well, thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask how first chairlift rides went on Saturday? Sunday,
Great.
whatever Sunday.
yeah, we had,
I saw Stuart in Hannaford, good place to get caught up.
he's anxious to go and,
He said it was good.
yeah, it was a good turnout, and I think the ski club did really well, they were really happy.
How'd it work out having Mark there doing the barbecue?
He was
stuff?
outside, and he didn't set up till 11 after the pancakes were done, so it worked out perfect. And I think
Did
he
he
was,
stay?
he was happy too.
Good.
So, because he had the grill going right outside, you know, between the chairlift and the lodge, so.
Is that in addition to the box lunches he's doing, or is that the box?
That is the box, yeah, you can either get it to takeout or.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
So we just need to hope the rain stays away this week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And wind, they're saying. it could be-
I'm getting calls at least once a day from
This
people
could be,
asking.
this Indigenous People Day weekend is
Right.
usually our
It was
biggest.
big last year.
I know.
Are we gonna have anything special going on Monday?
No.
No, no, okay.
Sunday day.
And the other event, just since we're talking about events, was Saturday's Trail
Yep.
Fest. And I happened to stop in on that, I was on my way back from Burlington at 10 in the morning. And that was huge. I talked to Adam, the organizer, he did, I didn't ask him directly, but he was paying a fee now for that usage, right? Okay, which is great. So I think he said this is the fourth year, maybe, that it's been going on?
Fourth annual, yeah.
Yeah, the fourth
Yeah.
annual. He said they had 130 racers, participants in both between the running race that was sort of Trail Runners of Midcoast, Maine, and then that and the mountain bike race, and I don't know if that was, I'm assuming that was McNemba, who was probably sort of roughly organized, or maybe it was just Baxter Outdoors doing that. Again, that seemed like it was, obviously there were twice as many people, the parking lot was essentially full, which was amazing.
And the Scuttle went really well. The Scuttle
Yeah,
was
I
really
wasn't
busy
here
too.
for the Scuttle.
Yeah, we've had some good outdoor events.
But I think we're starting to get, and this has always been sort of a vision that I've had for the place, is that we're having these signature events throughout the year that people are coming out to that are really well organized, that are fun, that are family, and that are generating some revenue. It's not a lot necessarily, I mean, but it's something that's going into the kitty to help us. Hopefully it covers all of those costs, and throws a little bit extra into the pot to.
And I think, adding lobster right in there too, that it
Right.
just brings awareness of the resource, of the area out there to people that have never been here before and they're coming to that event.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, I didn't even realize that this was here, so.
The only concern, the critical concern that I heard at all about that was that when the lodge was open first thing in the morning and people went in, that the bathrooms had not already been cleaned. And so the ski patrollers who were there actually cleaned the bathrooms.
Which
because
day was this?
This was on Saturday. So I don't know if there was something going on the night before or how things integrated, but
So Friday, I restocked the paper towels in the women's room and stuff, but
now
it wasn't a mess.
No, it wasn't, it was, they had to clean the toilets, or some toilets. So, I don't know, again, that can happen from, one instance or whatever, but, and I don't know what the, how that works out. I was assuming that somebody was maybe there later on a Friday and,
I
whatever.
closed the lodge up Friday
But-
afternoon, but I didn't go in the men's room,
Well,
so
I
if
think,
it was
yeah,
in
maybe
the
it
men's
I don't
room.
have that level of granularity. Again, I'm not putting it out there as a,
I
mean,
had
our-
to have
our
happened that morning.
Our person gets there at 7:00 on Saturday morning, so.
right, so, yeah, I mean, I saw Craig, but I didn't get there till much later in the day. I'm just, as I say, I'm just sort of, putting it out there that,
Yeah.
maybe, just being sure that stuff's getting double checked right before the sort of door opens. You can't be, an hour later, it could be a mess, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah, I
knows,
know.
but
Yeah.
It's an anomaly, I
You
think.
would,
I think you're
Imagine.
absolutely right. I'm not suggesting it's a big thing, but, and then also, it was great. I thought the way that you guys had the swag out there being sold, right at the chairlift, with Stuart and
Mary.
Mary was there, right, exactly. I thought that was great, to do that and to have,
Swag.
have merch, as the
We have
kids
some
all
good
call it.
looking stuff right now.
Beach, the
But-
swing set?
Oh,
Did we get that?
A
so,
little bit of news there, I didn't
yeah,
wanna forget that.
Audra, said to go ahead with the swing set at Lake Beach.
Yes,
That
but-
is going to be installed this fall.
Fantastic.
You can see where it's staked out for the
They've-
wood chips.
Public
It looks
Works
good.
has staked it out. They have an excavator that they have for another project that they're gonna go and dig up for us. And so we're waiting to hear from the guy that will help us install it, but, there's a a few things that we'll have to do this fall, but he can do it right up till December, he said, so.
It's looking good down there.
Yeah.
With the stairs.
And so it's
and
gonna have 2 big kid swings and 2 buckets.
the- Nice.
Yep,
So a little more than was there before.
yep. And this, I don't know if I reported last month that the stairs are completed as
Oh
well.
my God, they're so nice.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's
nice.
huge,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
good deal.
So there's really not too much more to be done with Lake Beach as far as critical stuff.
Maybe a new charcoal grill thing, because that one's on the ground. I don't, what the heck that's all about, but I
Yeah.
mean, the crew says it gets used, and the ones at Barrett's Cove get used
Yeah.
too, so.
I don't think those are,
Too expensive, I think it's
no, a
pretty
couple
easy.
$100 a pop or something, I'm guessing.
Yep.
The one other issue there, and I don't know, and I haven't looked, though I know I could, how far the town property extends if you're looking at the water to the left. So, you know, there's that little trail that goes down through the woods. Do you, either of you know by chance how far over we own?
I don't believe that trail is
That's-
ours, because we
it's not
called the
ours.
neighbors to get access when the stairs were
Okay,
not.
so that's private property there, because there's lots of boats that are stashed in the woods there,
Yes.
It's not-
Not
locked up to
property.
people, but it's not our property, so, okay. Yeah, I just didn't know if that was
Yeah.
a
And I
liability
believe
for the town.
Steve Pixley is going to have a dinghy rack over there.
Well, he's
He says-
talked with me about it. Right now, the agreement that I've got with the town, I believe
Allows
gives
me-
me exclusive operational use of that.
Park.
So, yeah, so
Down
I-
there, but not where it was that one winter when it was,
Well, no, that was just, you know,
That was
that would
that,
never
yeah.
be, I
Right,
can't imagine that would be a
exactly,
good
yeah.
spot, but, yeah, it may make sense, and I'm not, I don't know that I wanna do any more of them, but I've been talking with Steve
oh, you have to,
a little bit about that, just so we're not all competing.
gotcha.
Sarah, if I make reference at the select board presentation about the work done on the bathrooms over at Lake Beach, do I refer to it as the West Bay Rotary, or is there some other special name
The
for that group?
satellite group, or the satellite club of West Bay Rotary, so it's the group that meets at night.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right, fine. Any other upcoming events that we should?
Just pancake breakfast and chairlift rides the rest of October.
Early bird season pass sales are happening.
Right,
I was gonna ask about that, so is that,
A weekend now, right? About a week
Yep.
and everyone, people are able to do that
online.
entirely online at this,
Yeah, I just launched the website the other day.
So online, paper form, save your percentage on your credit card if you pay by check or cash. Lockers went up this year to 150.
50, good.
Do you have any available? Someone was just asking. me.
4 people have said they're not getting them so far. So there'll be 4 raffled off, not
Did you get
raffled.
an email from someone about that on Monday? I'll ask you afterwards. There was
Okay.
one I directed your way.
you like
He
to
really
do a
wants
drawing.
one.
It's a lotto.
Yeah, lottery.
Yeah.
We may or
We
may
have to
not.
give 1 to the club to auction off.
yeah,
So,
okay, good. All right, so, anything else? All right, our next meeting will be, does anybody have a calendar? What is the second Wednesday in November, and does that come up with elections?
The week of,
6th, November 6th. Election is the 5th.
So the
so the
6th can't be the second.
the second
Oh,
Wednesday's the
sorry,
13th.
13th, you're right.
13th,
Duh.
November 13th.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll be out of town.
so that'll be our next meeting, okay? Good,
November 13th.
November 13th.
But speaking of the satellite club, we'd love another project. We'd love to do another project for the town, you know, painting,
Okay.
fixing, whatever.
Staining a deck at the summit.
Yeah,
You know what? I never heard from us at school. Okay, if you guys would like something, painting the inside of Hotel Rockport, the toboggan shack,
It's all just plywood.
it's just white paint. Simple.
so whitewash it.
Whitewash the inside, yeah, get rid of all the graffiti and all that stuff.
And the regular West Bay, don't they usually help us with the shoot?
The
We
shoot.
do usually work on the shoot. Oh, and the picnic tables look great when I was out there for
Yeah.
the volunteer event for Bike Maine. Very nice. I went to 2 events this summer, they were just really nice. that one in the evening, and then Allen Agency had its employee event, and we were there all afternoon. It was really, really nice. Really good.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Thank you. All right.
Oh, yes, so, we're parking cars out of this.
These
Good.
ones,
Thank you for these.
I'm
By the
holding
way.
on
Good.
to.
Hey, glad to hear it's already been
You've got the.
being used.
See how many people have
These
been-
ones I didn't
You're a good
send
salesman
yet,
then.
because I think we should make a copy of
I don't really
this.
do anything.
And then this was
I think it was
the vests.
Yeah.
I didn't put it on under our uniform because I don't know how much jackets are gonna cost us, so this is under marketing.
I just always,
Oh, okay, okay, all right.
I mean, to me,
And
there's
then
like
this
the
should
things that
go
just immediately
to
require
Audra,
or
because
should
I don't know where we're paying that. This is the culvert engineering. Thanks, Jeff.
Whether or not others agree, I just think there's something nice about.
Awesome.
Not nice, I think there's something, I just,
Which
I
account?
value that
It's
sometimes
a-
there are festivals
I
where there
believe it's a
is
capital.
consumption allowed, or, you know, you're
Or maybe
21 years
Jody would
old,
know.
and
I don't-
that if anything, modeling for kids and teenagers, that consumption can happen in a really healthy way.